We will call the Ways and Means Committee meeting to order. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bills. We've added one since the original notice went out. It was one that was inadvertently omitted, which was HB 802 by Representative Teasley. So that's been added to the list. I think I've promised half the people on here that they can go first, and I just don't remember who I promised first that they could go first. Representative Hawkins, if you will come and talk to us about HB 769.
And I thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I want to thank you. We do have some appropriations right now on health, and we've got a big long list to go through. I'm committed to doing that. I bring you today House Bill 769. This is the same bill we passed last year. The Senate, their wisdom, put a sunset into the bill, which we did not have last year's bill. You know, we've done this year in, over the years. This is probably about the third time we've done the bill, and you know, really getting rid of the sunset. We talk about
Go.
See ya. Get out of here quick.
Chairman Coomer. Christian here?
He's got a transportation committee.
He's also got a bill here, and he was the second person I promised to be first. He may have lost his place.
That corrected the thing with 170 by virtue of House Bill 170. It made us need to correct this bill. That's all. On Christian's bill.
Are you going to present it?
If you want me to, if I can find it.
All right. Well, while you're looking for it, I will call Kevin Tanner to talk about HB 726.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Committee. House Bill 726 is a bill that addresses what I call a double taxing issue.
We don't have it yet, do we?
In our cigar industry.
Pull it up on your phone.
Cigars, little cigars are taxed at 23% excise tax. We heard testimony at the subcommittee level from a cigar store owner who was representing a large number of cigar stores who were in attendance that they have not been paying this excise tax in this manner until recently, when audits started occurring on cigar stores, and the Revenue Department had indicated that they needed to pay that 23% excise tax not only on the cost of the tobacco but also on the cost of the shipping and the cost of the federal excise tax. So we're in essence, we would be taxing a tax. So we'd place a 23% excise tax on top of the federal excise tax and on top of shipping cost. There was some conversation around the shipping issue at subcommittee. I mentioned a couple of things about that, and there were some comparisons given to some other industries such as gasoline. We know that in House Bill 170 last year we changed how we tax fuel, so it's a per gallon tax, and cigarettes was also mentioned, and those is a flat tax per pack, so those are handled differently than cigars. The other issue with the shipping cost is typically these cigar store owners have told us that they get a shipment of a lot of different items in. It's not just cigars inside a box. It's a humidor, it's lighters, it's not just cigars, so it's difficult to just break out the cigars shipping cost. And so that's the proposal, Mr. Chairman. We do have a physical note. I don't have it in front of me. I just got it and gave it to Laura on the way over here. I know you have it in electronically. It shows 3-point-something million, I believe, the first year, and maxing out at a little over $4 million. I will say that based on the testimony we heard in subcommittee, these individuals are not paying it now. I believe if they were continuing to be audited and we were requiring them to pay it, then that could be the maximum amount we would see collected. But I do not feel, based on the testimony we've heard at subcommittee, that that's actually the amount being collected now in code or by the Revenue Department.
It's my I'm passing the phone with the fiscal note in it down. We'll have it in the record, but I wanted y'all to know that we do have a fiscal note. And as Representative Tanner says, it's like a $3.5 million impact. But as I also understand it, they have used basically some projections as to if everybody were paying it that this is what it would cost us to exempt it, but what you're telling me based on your conversations with revenue is that, and with the tobacco store owners, that that's not happening unless they're actually audited by revenue. Is that correct?
That's correct. From conversations with cigar store owners and then initial conversations with the revenue about when this issue first came up, that is correct.
Okay. So the fiscal impact is assuming that everybody did what they were supposed to be doing, which is not happening.
That's
is that
correct.
Would revenue disagree with that?
I don't think we have any hard data on whether a sample size from the businesses, whether they're collecting it or not. At this time, we probably need to audit to see what everyone was doing, but we don't have any information on that point.
Okay. Any questions from the committee? All right. Representative Carson.
It's not as much of a question as much as it's a statement. Based on what I saw in the fiscal note, the fiscal note only measures the state impact, which is de minimis. The local, there would be a local impact, but I presume that would be de minimis as well, correct?
Generally, when they do a fiscal note, if there's a local impact, they'll list it. Is this a state excise tax?
It is, and we
So
still
it's an
would be-
excise tax,
Yeah,
not a sales tax.
that's correct. We would still collect
no
sales
local
tax.
impact.
Correct.
Wait a minute, Representative Beasley Teague, did you have a question?
I just wanted, Alan Powell, he would know what we would be losing on this as far as the state is taxes concerned. He smokes cigars all the time.
I think he's probably the one that smokes all the cigars.
He's also a co-signer on the legislation.
Chairman, appropriate time.
Okay. Representative Harrell?
If it's appropriate, I move do pass.
Second the motion.
Okay, we got a motion and a second. Do pass. Any other discussion or questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Motion passes. Chairman Coomer, we had called you already, so do you want me to move you to the end of the list, or would you like to present now?
I can present now. Okay.
Come along.
I tried to tell the governor to let me go, come see you. He just was not as concerned as I was about my tardiness here.
Did he give you a hall pass?
He did not.
Okay.
He said my words was good enough. So.
All right. Talk to us about HB 822, please, sir.
Yes, sir. It is a very simple single word change to the statute, removing the word state with regard to describing prepaid tax on fuels. Basically it's a House Bill 170 cleanup. We no longer have a state prepaid tax on fuel, and so we're eliminating that word to clarify and avoid any confusion.
Okay. Questions from the committee?
Move to pass, Mr.
All right. There is go ahead.
Move do pass.
Okay. Got a motion to do pass. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Goes to rules.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Representative Beskins, HB 766.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members of the committee.
How many pages of notes have you got there?
Only one is relevant,
Okay.
unless you start asking me hard questions. I bring you today House Bill 766, which revises the definition section of ad valorem tax exemptions related to the applicant for a homestead exemption. I think y'all have this on your iPad. So if you would look at OCGA 48-5-40, under paragraph 3, it defines homestead and focuses on applicants. And that section states that homestead includes the following qualifications. The fifth qualification, which is under subparagraph E, says where a husband or wife occupies a dwelling and the title of the homestead is in the name of the wife. However, if you look through the 14 exemptions here, which are listed at paragraphs A through N, there's no corollary provision that would say what would happen if the title is in the name of the husband. So House Bill 766 simply provides that either spouse can apply for the homestead exemption if the house is titled in the name of the other spouse. And this happens all the time. Within a marriage, it's common for the house to be titled to be separate property that one spouse either brings into the marriage or inherits during the marriage, or it could be marital property that's titled in the name of one spouse alone for purposes of asset protection or estate planning. So simply it allows either spouse to claim the homestead exemption if the house is titled in the name of the other. So it seems simple and straightforward, but I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Your seatmate has a question.
Yes, I do, to my seatmate, Representative Beskins. Do you realize that this bill, obviously you realize it would be a constitutional amendment, so it will go on the ballot in November, and every citizen and voting citizen in the state will vote on it. Do you realize what a big deal this is, that a freshman would have a constitutional amendment on the ballot?
Well, I don't think it would have my name on it, would it?
I don't know. Could we add that? Could we add that to it now?
I will
just make sure you understand what a big deal this is.
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
okay.
very
Okay,
exciting
yeah,
for me. I'm planning to vote that day anyway.
Okay,
but,
good. Okay, good.
Thank you for pointing that out.
Just want to make sure you knew.
All right, any other questions or any relevant questions? What is the pleasure of the committee?
Move to pass, Mr. Chairman.
All right, so motion and second. Do pass. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes to rules.
Thank you.
Representative Teasley.
Yes, sir.
You're what number?
18.
Okay, present.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Members of the committee, I bring before you House Bill 802, which is truly a simple little bill. It's the intention here is to expand the current tax deduction on the College 529 savings plan. As you guys are no doubt aware, the college tuition has been going up over the last several years. And so currently Georgia allows for a $2,000 contribution to be tax deductible on your state income tax. This would take it from $2,000 to $4,000. 2010 study showed that students who have a college savings account are 7 times more likely to attend college. And the goal of this measure is to encourage families to save for college by allowing them to save more of their own money. I'd be glad to provide any more detail or be as brief as possible. You tell me.
All right. In your packet on the iPads, there's a fiscal note.
Mm-hmm.
And if you would just tell the committee, in case they don't want to look at the fiscal note, what it says.
Surely. On the low end, it is expected to be $1.6 million a year. On the high end, just under $3 million.
Okay. Any questions of the author?
Sam, do you know where other states that have similar 529 plans,
Surely.
where are they?
We're actually, Georgia's among the lowest. A number of our southeastern...
With this legislation or after this?
even after the legislation. But, for instance, Alabama is $5,000 or $10,000 if married filing jointly. I'm sorry, I didn't explain in my bill. We would take it from $2,000 to or $4,000 if filing jointly. So that's one of the things we wanted to address first, is the fact that we have no married filing jointly. Arkansas is $5,000 and $10,000. South Carolina allows you to deduct the full amount of the contribution. Mississippi's $10,000 and $20,000. Most, when you look at an average of the states, most of them are in the $3,000 to $4,000 and matching. So 3 and 6 or 4 and 8 would be kind of the average of where the other states are. 5 and 10 is the most common.
Thank you.
Good question. Anybody else?
Move to pass.
Second.
All right, there's a motion and a second. Do pass. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes to rules. Chairman Knight.
Yes, sir.
What number?
27.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And first of all, I want to thank the chairman. You've got a committee substitute before you, 862, and Chairman wisely had seen the need to make sure that this bill, if it does pass, becomes law upon the governor's signature. And this is because it has to do with the ad valorem tax. Back in 05, HB 48 we were trying to clarify some language, and if you look at this bill, there's only one word that has changed, and it's from and to or. And so what we in essence had done in this is we said that in order to get the homestead exemption, you've got to be honorably discharged and totally disabled, and now you must have lost a leg or arm or put on an eye to get the homestead exemption. So what's happening is our tax assessors have read this language, and they are turning down the veterans' homestead exemptions because of the and instead of the or. So all we're doing in this bill is clarifying what our original intent was, and making sure that our veterans don't go out and lose an appendage to get their homestead exemption.
Okay, questions. Representative Beasley Teague.
Okay. Yes, sir. I don't know why I thought that, it's probably just me, that veterans have to be 100% disabled to be able to get this exemption? Taxes?
Well, to the lady, it's 100% disabled, but is compensated at 100% level due to the unemployability. So there's a difference there.
I know I've worked with a lot of them that at Lockheed Martin that were 25 and 50% disabled, but they could work at certain jobs and whatnot. And then when they got cancer or something from the Agent Orange, then that's when they went to 100%. So,
but that's due to the individual unemployability that's I guess awarded up under the United States Department of Veterans. In other words, you can be less than 100% disabled, but for employment purposes, they can say you're 100% disabled. Okay. But to the lady, I think this bill is again, what we're doing in this bill, we misplaced a word. We said and when we should have said or. Okay. So I assure you that our veterans will very much appreciate this one-word change.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Move to pass.
Second.
All right, there's a motion and a second. Do pass. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes to rules. And looking at my list, I think we've handled every bill. Did I miss anything? Okay, that's all the things on the agenda, so we are
I can't believe we made a mistake.
adjourned.